In order to become the president of Nigeria, nobody can argue there were deals that went on. And what he did was to play them against each other so that he
You
could
are
get a seat in
alleging
the
that
presidency.
President Tinubu, had a deal with the terrorists.
Excuse me, it is no longer a secret anywhere in the world. So what am I talking about here? Tinubu is one heartbeat away. You see, I feel sorry for him. In a way, we need to protect President Tinubu's life. He may think he has the guts to face these people, but I can tell you something, he has totally misread the size of the problem in which he has gone to double his hands.
Okay,
These
so
people,
you said a lot of things. These are serious allegations.
please, don't even bother. I'm the one talking. We are.
So guys, you are going to be listening to one of the most shocking revelations in the internet about deals you've got to enter if you want to become the president of Nigeria. The Islamization is one of the deals you must agree to. It's one of the things you must sign in for if you want to become the president. So that tells you that there are really people who own this country. No wonder they are jailing nnamdi Kanu for life, because he's trying to stop jihad. He's trying to stop the Islamization of Nigeria. That is the only crime for them to sentence him to life imprisonment. And guess what? Sadly, our Yoruba brothers are the ones being used to perpetrate the jihad that has to do with the North. I'm just going to allow you to take a look at this video. Take your time. Watch this video just for you to know what is happening in the country. This is a security expert who has come out to boldly say he's not scared of what he's seeing, but he has to say it for the sake of the children unborn, that there are deals you must sign to for you to become the president of Nigeria. Tinubu's hands are tied, that he didn't know how deep the covenant is before he entered. And now that he has entered, take your time, watch this video for yourself to know what is happening in the country. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Just
people have been asking, what exactly are we dealing with? What is even going on?
I want to speak without a shred of doubt right now that what Nigeria is dealing with, it is both an ancient and a modern problem. And this is bigger, including religion, but bigger than religion. This is not an Usman Danfodio narrative. It's a more modern, more deadly, more intelligent Hydra, a supremacist agenda that was perfected by Osama bin Laden when he globalized the global resurgence of religious terrorism. This is not merely a Fulani problem. It's bigger than that. There are at least about 5-6 groups that we are reckoning with. It has a head in education. It has infiltrated our security defense systems. Over the years, it has infiltrated governance. It has infiltrated media.
Okay, so thank you so much, Daddy. But I feel like so far you have been speaking in parables. You are not naming. Okay, so you said 5 different heads. You need to put names. Also, you need to give the evidence of all these things that you are saying.
I told you it's a supremacist agenda that was designed to use Islam as a cover. That's why for the first 15, 16 years, it was targeted only at Christians first. I told publicly that in the later years, towards the end, when they're about to strike Nigeria completely, they will start killing Muslims as well. So I said that about 10 years ago. You are dealing with something that is global, but has a local face. Its objective is to take the whole of Nigeria, not some of Nigeria. Now, it's going to use Islam and the Sharia to take Nigeria. All over the world, its tactics are different.
Who is trying to take Nigeria?
Now, let me put it for you like this. The architecture for the intelligence behind this thing is more than the local intelligence. But they have contacted local actors. You see, there's what they call the ISWAP. The Fulani is there. Then you have the Kanuri-dominated Boko Haram. Then you have Lakurawa, Ansaru, and all those other offshoots of the global template provided by Al-Qaeda. Many headed, only one heart. And what the idea is to take Nigeria, take West Africa, take the rest of Africa, and then use that resources to dominate the world.
Okay, so it's Al-Qaeda that is trying to take over Nigeria through these different terrorist organizations.
An intelligence created by Al-Qaeda between 1991 and 1996, Osama bin Laden was in Sudan. perfecting the model of how to globalize terrorism and rule the world with Sharia. And he knew they would have to kill Muslims as well. So what we're dealing with is bigger than just a religious problem. It's a supremacist agenda covering its face with the Islamic religion.
So, for people that may be watching right now, some of them will say, we've been hearing about things like this for a long time. Where is the actual evidence? Like what you said Bin Laden drafted in Sudan. Is there a record of it somewhere? Like some people would say, where is the evidence to the things that you're saying?
Okay, one of the greatest weaknesses of the African nations of the world, including Nigeria, is the inability to mathematize inquiry. That is to collect statistics and data, crunch it, and then do what they call concatenation. That is to join all the dots and use that to come to a conclusion and predict things that when they happen, you will not be surprised. If you follow the media in Nigeria over the past 20-something years, there's nothing I have said beforehand that did not come to pass, including when the color of the terrorist, the color skin of the terrorist is going to change in the latter hours, when they are bringing in people from the Maghreb and they're bringing in other people from outside of our borders. So if you want evidence, I will give you some. Number one, let me give you something very simple. There's no place in the world that has responded to an already documented resurgence of global Islamism by claiming to arrest terrorists, and then you will claim that you have de-radicalized them, and then you absorb them into the Nigerian army. You see, that one alone is an amazing case of stupidity. I've never heard of this kind of madness before. An armed robber comes to your house, you arrest him, instead of prosecuting him, you claim that you have changed his mind, and you now make him join your megadis. That is, of course, one. Number two, if we collate, I can tell you from the beginning, one of the things I discovered from the year 1999 to 2000 was government complicity. And why do I say so? We have reached a stage now where we are not afraid of anything anymore. In those days, we were more afraid of the enemy within than the enemy without. So today, there can be documents that I will give you, we'll put on display. When you find out that young girls are kidnapped, married off, taken away from their husbands, I mean, sometimes young girls are kidnapped, sometimes wives are kidnapped, married off Islamically, and you will see that a summons will come. The governors were aware. I can give you a case where we had to curb a terrorist attack in Kaduna State. We could tell you the modus operandi. It started with Gumi when he came back from Mecca, when he came back from Saudi Arabia. His first tafsir in Kaduna was a call to violence, to slaughter. The VHS came to me because we have been setting up early warning systems, and this is what a real early warning system is to prevent something. When we got it, we translated it into English, and at that time it was Obasanjo who was the president of Nigeria. Thank God for the first square general overseer, who is now late, Wilson Badejo, who assured me that what we prepared and gave to him was given to Obasanjo in his bedroom. But what they didn't know was that we were still monitoring Kaduna to see whether the arms build-up towards the execution was going to stop. When we saw that it was not going to stop, in fact, this is a good example I'm giving you, I had to call a special strategic session with media, because media is a force expander in this new war form, this Hydra-headed war form. At that time, the man they call Additional, who became Buhari's media, whatever, was at that time an editor-in-chief or something in one of the newspapers. They gathered together, and I told them, this is the problem. They are about to kill
Femi
600 to
Adesina.
900 people. Femi Additional. They are about to kill 600 to 900 people in Kaduna. And I said to them, we have sent all the information to the army, to all the places. There's nobody stopping them. Unknown to them, we were monitoring. The Gumi boy went into the SSS office in Kaduna laughing and came out laughing. When I got that report in Lagos, we decided to call this media meeting and said, look, how do we solve this? Now, there's a headline that we have to put up where they did as if they interviewed the head of CAN and had to interview Gumi. Immediately, we took the front pages, the full pages in the newspapers and the new media, and the news blew across the world. The queries came to the president of Nigeria, It was reported to me directly that the Gumi boy entered, then it was a small boy. I mean, he entered the SSS office. This time he didn't come out laughing. He left the country immediately. Now, this is a guy who has been banned by Saudi Arabia. They didn't allow him to enter Saudi Arabia. Let me give you another proof. I was on television when I found out there was no other way of escape. When an Al Qaeda operative was already appointed as a federal minister in Buhari's government. And I questioned
Do
that
you
how,
mind naming that minister?
what's his name? Something, Issa Pantami. How do I know? I supervised an evacuation in 2004 when a young Christian was slaughtered in the mosque of ATBU. That's Abaka Tafawa Balewa University. Okay? Now, when we supervised that, it was this Pantami who was a lecturer in that university at that time who put a fatwa on certain students because they preached the gospel to Muslims in a university. And at that time, when they killed that boy, we had to go and evacuate the others whose names I spoke to them recently. They are still afraid till now. The young guys brought them into Lagos. We made arrangements to take them into other countries where there's better respect for human worth. And then Sunday Achi was the name of the student who was murdered. Okay. At that time, for you to know how this thing works, there was a bishop who was working with the Obasanjo government who went to arrange for the burial of this boy. And when I said, let us make it an issue, they at that time were cooperating because they didn't realize how dangerous this Hydra is. Later, that Hydra attacked that bishop, almost killed him, finished his secretary. Fortunately, they couldn't catch his wife. They maimed him. And today, he's one of the forefront advocates who has realized how dangerous this thing is. I could really give you many more examples. One of the former head of state who was claiming that there was nothing in his time, I was at a meeting with him in his home in Ota. When he gave me his own version of what he believed was going on, I said to him, sir, during your government, they were already building up more and more, infiltrating more and more. I said, do you remember a meeting you went to have in northern Nigeria when this thing started? When you left, they slaughtered every member of the family that entertained you. I said they were sending you a warning to back off. Now, some years later, he went for a security meeting outside Nigeria. And I think when they showed him the build-up of what is coming into Nigeria when the final phase comes. Look, the Nigerian army in totality, everybody knows what the number is. The last time they engaged the BH on 3 war fronts, it took almost 2.5 weeks to overcome. So everybody realizes that if you think the Nigerian army can withstand a combined forces of what ISWAP has planned in the future, what is working for us right now is very simple. Nigeria is 220 million people strong. The number of all these people who want to swallow Nigeria, they're not even up to 450,000. Now, the strength of this is, let me break one nonsense that is going all around. And this is what we have to be careful to counsel the US government about. Anybody who looks and thinks that the Fulani is a primary problem is a joker. The Fulani is not the primary problem. All the combined forces of all these people is not up to 400 and something million. Now, is it this ill-educated?
400 and something thousand.
Yes. All these ill-educated, all these, what can I say, anachronistic human beings who are wearing loincloth all over the whole place, do you think that they are the real problem? Listen, the Fulanis have told you that they were busy using their six when people came and gave them AK-47s and took their children to go and train. Why don't we realize that it's the intelligence that is arranging logistics, that is arranging safe passage for them? I have boys in the army. We used to pray for them. When they locate the enemy position in the Nigerian army, a signal comes from Abuja that they should not attack. The signal will be delayed. After 3 hours, they tell them, now go. The Boko Haram will have left that place. So what more proof
are
do we
you
need?
saying that the Nigerian government is involved in what is
What are you saying? Even Jonathan, before he left, openly said they are in my cabinet. Look, this thing has been known to collapse nations from within. So there's nothing new about what is going on in Nigeria. It's just like the architecture of thought. I would rather speak to the younger generation, the digital generation who understand programming. Because it looks as if the older generation don't have what it takes, don't have the understanding to acknowledge that there's a problem here. And let us come squarely. My eyes are on the president of Nigeria. It needs to be careful. Yes. Listen to me. I have nothing against him personally, but I can tell you something that is very, very clear to anybody. Now, he is an astute, consummate politician, but he doesn't realize that there's a global problem that he's dealing with. In order to become the president of Nigeria, nobody can argue there were deals that went on. And in an essence, what he did was that he, more than anybody else, realized that there are many factors to the Hydra. In terms of the kinetics, apart from the Fulani, the Boko Haram, the ISWAP controlled, Ansar, Lakurawa and Co. And what he did was to play them against each other so that he
Yeah, you
could
are
get a seat in
alleging
the
that the
presidency.
President Tinubu, had a deal with the terrorists.
Excuse me, whether we like it or not, it is no longer a secret anywhere in the world that,
So, but what's the evidence? Some people will say that,
okay, let me
what
give you talk. Let me
evidence
just
do
give you
you
throw you,
have?
let me throw you one quickly. People don't realize that the Mandela bombing in Niger State, the Catholic church that was bombed in Niger State, the fellow who headed it actually was in Lagos, in Snake Island, 2 days, 3 days, and then traveled to northern Nigeria to take his team to execute. What does that tell you? Now, when he got into police custody, he was arrested and he miraculously escaped. When he escaped miraculously, where was he rearrested? Where did he take up refuge? He took up refuge in the lodge of a serving high-placed government official from Borno State, who happens to now be who? The vice president of Nigeria. So what am I talking about here? Tinubu is one heartbeat away. You see, I feel sorry for him. In a way, we need to protect President Tinubu's life. He may think he has the guts to face these people, but I can tell you something, he has totally misread the size of the problem in which he has gone to double his hands.
Okay,
These
so
people,
you said a lot of things. These are serious allegations. You
please, don't even bother. I'm the one talking. We are, listen, we are
yes.
the circumcision. We worship God in the spirit. We rejoice in Christ Jesus and we have no confidence in the flesh. I'm a statesman. We worry about the generations to come. I'm not worried about the next election. There's nothing I'm saying that cannot be substantiated, not only within Nigeria, but globally. So let nobody deceive themselves. His so-called, look, why do you think the federal government is trying to deny an evident truth? And all these people who have collected 30 pieces of silver, all these people speaking from two sides of the mouth, who are just shifting positions like the mendacious president that we have, why do you think they are going on like that? Because there's a plan. If this intervention had not come and the president was allowed to go through his 8 years, who will he hand over the country to? And does he think they are not wise enough to know that if they are able to eliminate him, into whose hands does the country go? Now, this is where the problem is. If the country goes into the hand of the Boko Haram, the Fulani will not be happy. Those who are, look, let me give you a good example, an open secret. When Shekau became
Are
an
you saying that
embarrassment,
the country will go into the hand of Boko Haram after Tinubu?
please, if you remember very well, just after he came in, there was some kidnappings, some bombings, and then there was an outrageous demand for one is impossible, I can't remember, was it 20 billion or something, impossible amount of money. When that demand was made, it was not really because they felt that kind of money will be paid. It was a direct message, a coded message to the presidency. Everybody is aware now that there was complicity in the times of in terms of the former president Muhammad Buhari. Like I mentioned Issa Pantami. Also, don't forget about that his interesting governor who turned against Buhari in the last minute, who was persuaded to turn against Buhari, the worst governor Kaduna State has ever had. And I said something when Kaduna State was able to
Governor
lose
El
22.
Rufai?
Yes. Look, let's not even go there. Go and look at his tweets in the earlier years. Go and look at his own open admission on television that he left Nigeria to neighboring countries to with money to go and sponsor the terrorists who had come to kill in Nigerian territory. Why did they have that kind of confidence then? Was because they knew they had entered governance. Now, as I'm speaking right now, listen, we need to reformat this country. And there's an opportunity that has come right now that if we mismanage this opportunity, let me tell you something, even God in heaven will look away when in the south part of Nigeria, in the eastern part of Nigeria, 13-year-old girls end up being raped. Look, there was a blogger recently who was being political, and I want to tell everybody prophetically right now what is coming up for those who refuse to face truth, those who refuse to give value to the lives of others. A young blogger recently said that there's no genocide. I'm a Christian. I don't feel threatened. Long live P-Bat. She was one of those who was killed, if the account that is coming is right, in Kwara State in a church attack. Oh, she thought it was far away. Now, this is the fate, sadly, of those
Now,
who live in
by
Japan.
opportunity, you are talking about Trump saying that he would interfere with what is happening in Nigeria.
Well, I prefer the word intervention, and let me put it for you like this: for any godly-minded person, the declaration of Nigeria as a country, a CPC, that
Country of
designation,
concern. Yeah.
yes, that designation is a human designation. What we should worry about is that God in heaven himself had already declared Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Listen, according to prophecy, Nigeria is supposed to be the trigger of a global move of revival. Then the other side too decided that Nigeria must become the epicenter of the next greatest satanic attack against the entire world. So the destiny of Nigeria is what we're fighting for. Look, the corruption in Nigeria, I gave an interview when President Tinubu entered, and I did remember saying that it will not be an honor for anybody to serve in this dispensation. After the negotiation, he bought. Look, the mantra of this government is this: whatever problem money cannot solve will be solved by more money. Not realizing that there's a hyper-dimensional problem, a problem bigger than money. Look, let me tell you something, the mistake that he's making. The whole Nigerian budget, when you look at it every year, all said and done, comes to how much? Maybe about $30 billion. How much does the diaspora remit to Nigeria every
20,
year?
20 billion.
Dollars.
Yes,
So
sir.
when you hear Nigerians, you see, when poverty has been weaponized against a nation, people cannot think anymore. The older generation have been reduced by the weaponization of poverty. So look, thinking is an expensive thing. So it's not easy. Don't blame the average Nigerian. People
Okay.
are susceptible to money.
So, Daddy, before we round up, you've said a lot of things. Are these things that you can defend, like the
In my
allegations
sleep.
about the
In my
presidency,
sleep.
the vice president being part of,
Huh?
the
Excuse
Boko
me, in whose
Haram?
house was Kabiru Sokoto? In whose home was Kabiru Sokoto hiding before it was picked up? Please, if not for global interference in Nigerian affairs, we are ready 90-something% to the day of doom. So if we like, let us miss this opportunity. All those talking from the same different sides of the mouth, they will soon know what it is that we are dealing with.
So, exactly what do you want the US to do?
Very simple. There are 4 sets of people who are talking to us in the US. Number 1, those who are genuinely concerned. All right. Number 2, we have those who are looking for government appointments. Number 3,
In the US, looking for
in
government
the
appointments
US,
in
they are looking for
Nigeria.
government appointments in the US. They are
Oh, with
careerists.
Trump's
That's who they are.
administration.
Then there are those who know that money, US dollars, follows policy. So if not for Trump, they will not be speaking up. They are there. And then there's a last set of zealots who are so zealous that they reject God's wisdom. Those ones are what we call sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. They are equally as dangerous. So this is what I want us to do. If Nigeria cooperates properly with the window that God has used Trump to open, there's something that I cannot talk about in detail now. It's called the flight of 2 eagles. There's a bald eagle in that vision that can rescue the green eagle. Now, if we are able to eliminate the unnecessary voices that are fouling the waters in America for us, both within those against us and those for us, and remain only the voices that are looking forward to the future of Nigeria, let me tell you what will come out of it. Number 1, Nigeria will become a nation. Watch this, where the value of life will be something else. We will leap for quantum leap to the forefront of global civilization, all within 4 to 8 years. Number 2, the Nigerian foreign exchange right now that is about 1,600 naira to the dollar can be brought down to at least 1 to 250 to 350 naira to the dollar if we cooperate properly with understanding to tailor the American response in a way that will be profitable to the global community.
So, have you discussed any of this with the Nigerian government? Have you presented?
A government that is busy denying. Listen, the moment the Nigerian government is ready, even for President Tinubu, there's a way of escape for him. I fear for his life. If you do a proper concatenation and look at the analysis of what's on the table, and the way these things are going, he can't trust anybody around him because there's an option open to them, which he's aware of. Okay? But Nigeria cannot afford that option.
What's
So,
the option?
well, the point is this. If he cooperates with us, we have been studying this thing, we have been watching over this, we will create a Nigeria where no Muslim, no Christian is oppressed. Now, let me tell you this. When the generation of Awolowo and Zik and Co., when they got independence from Nigeria, Pax Britannica did not allow us to lay a firm foundation for a prosperous country. The divide and rule included religion. Now, this opportunistic hydra created by Osama bin Laden is using that opportunity. Now, if only Tinubu will cooperate, I will tell him that the first friend of Nigeria in America, first of all, in the olden days, was a man called Frank Wolf. Next is Chris Smith, Congressman Chris Smith. After him, we want to thank people like Louis Gohmert, we want to thank people like Ted Budd, Peter Ricketts, we want to thank people like Josh Hawley, we want to thank people like James Langford, then Ted Cruz. But most of all, this is better than any Nobel Peace Prize. We need to thank God for the two tweets that Donald Trump, they are prophetic.
So, but
they are
since
powerful.
Trump said that he was going to get involved, the killing has actually gotten worse, and the government is not doing anything really. The young
Well,
government is not doing
that
anything.
needed to happen to prove to the Nigerian that the government is so compromised, it does not care about your life. All it cares about is to win the next election, which will be the last election that is really democratic in Nigeria.
This is a lot for people to digest. In the course of this half hour, you have implicated the president, the vice president, the entire cabinet, the military is compromised. A lot of these things, like the military being compromised and so on, people know. You've talked about El Rufai, you've talked about Sheikh Gumi, the minister that you mentioned, Issa Pantami.
Issa Pantami, what does he want to respond? His articles were on the Al-Qaeda website, globally exposed in France, everywhere. All the intel that has been given to Nigeria from foreign nations has been neutralized by the Nigerian government all these years. Who can deny that?
I'm really hoping that the Nigerian government will respond. I'm really hoping that they would respond to this.
Please, we have gone past that level. Where we are now is how do we save Nigeria? How do we salvage the nation? How do we create a future for all our children across the entire nation? Don't let the blood of the people who have been slaughtered through the years, past more than 20-something years, we should not let their bloodshed be in vain. Unmerited suffering is often redemptive, and that's the way we should go now.
Thank you so much, Reverend Ladi Peter Thompson, for your time.
Now, should not be happening. There's no question about it that what is happening should not be happening. Children should not be picked from schools. We should not be traveling on the roads with our hearts in our minds. We should not be sleeping with one eye open. And we should not be in a country where we can't just travel where we want and go back where we want. And government cannot say that it is not their responsibility. They can say it if they like, but nobody agrees. That's why we have a government. They ask for our votes. We voted for them, at least so they said. They said we voted for them. Do the work. Do the work. Keep us safe. You have all the money of Nigeria at your disposal to do whatever you like with it. It's those monies, those resources are not available to the ordinary Nigerian. Certainly not to the religious leaders, as far as I know. So I think the first thing we must agree is that there should be truth in this matter. The truth should be out that things are not correct. What is happening is not good, and let the government agree instead of all the time defending itself, denial. There is nothing wrong in Nigeria. There's nothing here that is not happening anywhere else. That's not helping us at all. It's not helping us at all, and they are not reflecting the moods and the feelings of the millions of Nigerians who are living in fear and anxieties. Not to talk of the millions who have suffered tremendously from insurgents and all kinds of violent criminals. Whether you begin to label them with religious titles, whether they are Muslims or Islamic or not, is another matter. But the fact remains that nobody can counteract that Nigerians are being killed. They are being killed, and we believe the government knows who are those killing Nigerians. And the government's duty is to stop them from killing Nigerians. And so far, we have not seen adequate action in this regard. My hope is that the noise that has been generated in the last 1 or 2 weeks from America, and the noise that the terrorists are also generating in Nigeria with the frequent actions that they are taking on our poor children, we hope that will wake up everybody who should be doing something to make sure that the country is safe. It is good that my president has suspended going to South Africa. That's what we expect from the president to do. Sit here and make sure that the country begins to get safe. We hear that the Minister of Defense has been sent back to his state to go and sort things out. But I hope they know things are wrong, not only in his state, in Katsina. The things are wrong all over the country. Benue State, Plateau State, even the federal capital, Niger State. There's problem everywhere. And I think if the government agrees that they have not done well, then they will look for help. Then they will take more different action. They will stop boasting and they will stop politicking. And they should stop thinking of 2027. Let them talk about 2025 and 26 so that we can survive until then. This is the feeling of most Nigerians.
All right, Your Eminence, thank you so very much for the tone with which you have started the interview. But I'd like to ask, because you have clearly said that if the government admits that they have not done enough, they should seek help. And that's where I'll pick my question from. Donald Trump and America, has said that what is happening in Nigeria is genocide. And that if the government does not wake up to its responsibilities, America will have to come in to ensure that Christians are not being killed any further. But since Donald Trump made that statement, we saw what has happened. During the week alone, it's probably the worst week of the country this year in terms of the number of kidnappings and abductions and killings that has happened. And my question, therefore, would be, what sort of intervention do you think that Nigeria should seek now, particularly from the United States? Is it to have boots on the ground to assist us, or is it to share intelligence? How do you think that America should step in, sir?
Well, no country is an island on its own. Even the great countries, when they reach certain situation, they call for help. They call it partnership. Obviously, there's nothing wrong for Nigeria to seek partnership with other countries to deal with a problem that is beyond their control. But before that can happen, the government will have to agree that it is beyond their control. For the moment, the government keeps saying, we are doing very well. And they are even telling us, the National Security Advisor was telling the Bishops' Conference when we went to the State House that everything is very well now in Nigeria. We were looking at him, wondering, what Nigeria is this man talking about? So, first of all, we must face the reality. If indeed the government says they are incapable of handling the situation, then they either seek for assistance or they step aside for someone else who can do, other people who can do better. But the problem I have is this. I am not so sure that our Nigerian government with our armed forces are incapable of dealing with this matter. I am not so sure. And we are hearing that indeed Nigeria could handle this matter if they put aside politicking, if they put aside tribal and religious sentiments and face criminals who are dealing with us. And we are all listening to all kinds of all kinds of stories that we are hearing about the plans of certain people to destabilize Nigeria for their own interests. But we believe government ought to know about these things and stop them. The problem we have, therefore, is, do we have a government that is incapable of keeping us safe? If that is so, what are they doing to keep us safe? There's no more room now for excuses, saying that, oh, there are foreign elements that are intervening and not allow us to work, or that we want to respect the religions of people. No, there's no more excuse. Nigerians should be able to move around safely within their country, and irrespective of your religion, irrespective of where you come from. Those who are speaking of genocide, that word, the last time we heard of genocide in Nigeria was during the Biafra War. And the Biafra propaganda then said that the federal government was committing genocide against the Biafras. That's the last time we heard that word. Now the word has become current, that the government is either committing or permitting or facilitating genocide against Christians. Now, if anybody says that he is being killed, and he has evidence of his people being killed, I don't think it is helpful to say he should not talk or that he should not complain. Let people complain if they are not feeling well. When they talk of discrimination, which also ends up as persecution. They don't want to hear the word persecution. But there are people who feel they are under persecution. Let them speak and say what is happening, how they are being treated in their wherever they are. Nigeria is a very complex country. We should not close our eyes and pretend that Christians are feeling the same way all over the country. We do know that there are parts of this nation where Christians are second-class citizens, and they have been shouting, nobody has been listening to them. I pray that God has given us opportunity now for everybody to speak his mind and to insist that in this country we are all equal. And there's no religion that has an advantage over another. We are not in an Islamic nation. There are Islamic nations in many parts of the world. Nigeria is not one of them. Let no one think that it is. And let no one behave and continue to behave as if it is. And I think these are the things we must face, and face squarely, sincerely, and courageously. Are we ready to do so? I don't know. I'm an old man now, 81 years old. I'm no longer in charge of any church. I'm a retired Archbishop of Abuja, but there are church leaders who are speaking. They should listen to them. They should call them and listen to them. I don't think there is much use going with high-power delegation to go and start talking with American legislators. For me, it sounds very funny. The discussion is not in America. The discussion should be here in Nigeria. Let us listen to each other. I'm not aware that the Nigerian Christians as a group have gone to America to beg them to come and attack us. No, there was no such thing. No, we didn't. There may be some Nigerian Christians who went and made reports, but as Nigerian Christians, we have not done such a thing. We still believe that we live in a country where we live with fellow Muslims, that we can live together in peace. There are groups, terrorists, who are doing horrible things. They claim to be Muslims. We cannot deny that. If they claim to be Muslims, it is my strong belief that it is the Muslim community in Nigeria who can best deal with them. I can't talk with them. I don't know their language. So if for as long as they claim to be Muslims, we must agree that it is so, even though we could say they are not representing our Muslim community. And we are told too that what they are doing is against the Islamic State. These are just theological discussion. The reality is there on the ground. So all this situation where people are killing and getting away with it, where regularly armed terrorists are occupying people's villages, and the government is doing nothing to dislodge them, and instead they are building in IDP camps where they are living in a miserable way of life. That should stop. That should stop. Yes. This is not a country that is ungoverned.
Yes, and I think you said something interesting earlier. You mentioned that the government knows who is killing Nigerians. The government is aware of these people. Given the pressure that we've gotten from the US in the last few weeks, do you have a sense that the government will start naming and shaming and condemning these people who are behind all of these killings? What will it take?
Well, there are many Nigerians whom I've spoken to who say they don't care who comes to Nigeria. They don't care about our sovereignty, provided we can be kept safe. That is the reaction of people who are, shall I say, really, they just don't know what to say anymore. But for me, it is a shame on Nigeria that we have to wait for Trump to make noise before we begin to look at the reality that we see all around us. We don't need Trump to remind us that things are going wrong. We don't need Trump to let them know they should name, shame, and deal with all the supporters, the financiers of terrorism in Nigeria. If they do it now, well and good, we thank God. But if they still continue to live in denial and say, no, everything is okay, we have our constitution, of course we have our constitution, but the reality on ground is what we are looking at. People should not be made unsafe in their homeland. It is not happening all over Nigeria. It is not happening all over Nigeria. It is happening in certain parts of Nigeria, but even one small part of Nigeria is Nigeria. And they have those who are facing the violence, those who are facing the attack. They have every right to cry that they are facing the attack. And if they cry even to their own political leaders and nobody's doing anything, they have every right to go all over the world and make noise that they are killing us and our government are not doing anything. I don't blame anybody for doing that, because first and foremost, survival is the first thing. Now, I don't know whether just as it seems the terrorists have decided to make their wars head with all that has happened in the last week, maybe it will also make the government review everything. Check your records, look at the files. Who are those people that have been named with proper evidence, and stop wondering whether you want to step on any toes, or whether you want to go, you want to do anything against your political allies. And people are talking about, everybody's talking about 2027, which for me seems really it's a bit sad, because between now and 2027 we have almost a year and a half. A lot can happen. A lot can spoil within these 1.5 years. Why don't we face the country as it is now, make it safe, make it livable, and then when 2027 comes, ask us whether we want you back. Then we will decide. That is, if there's going to be an election, and a free and fair election. But before that, we must live in peace.
Yes, Archbishop John.
So guys, recently this video trended where this military head was seen saying if Nigerians fail to voluntarily enroll into the Nigerian army, then they will be forced to do so. So guys, you can see how these people have brought insecurity into the country, and now they are looking for who to go and die at the war front. Can you imagine? Now, let me take you through some of the trending headlines. You must have heard that the governor of Kebbi State is still lamenting that he doesn't know why the military withdrew before the bandits, the terrorists, struck the school in Kebbi to abduct the girls. So there were military men who were supposed to be there, but they suddenly disappeared before those terrorists invaded the school and made away with those girls. The governor is still questioning what happened. There's a lot of compromise. I'm going to be sharing a video where El-Rufai is exposing the NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, that he is the one pushing for non-kinetic method for the terrorists in Nigeria. Non-kinetic method. If you catch a terrorist, don't kill him, don't sentence him to jail, don't send him to court. Please ask him to surrender. Call him a repentant Boko Haram. Rehabilitate him, put him back in the military. So guys, all that you are going to be hearing. Do you also know that there is this video I posted last night where it was revealed that Tinubu was forced to enter a deal before he became a president. Deal for Islamization of Nigeria. So guys, there are people who own this country. They tell you what to do before you can become president. You are also going to be watching that video later towards the end of this video. But let me take you through some of the frightening headlines on the social media. Like this one now says, how Tinubu's defense minister maintained contact with bandit leaders, ordered them to compel communities to vote for APC. The same defense minister was sent to Kebbi State. This is the former governor of Zamfara. He still has a relationship with bandits, terrorists. And now that these Kebbi girls have been kidnapped, he was the one that Tinubu sent. Like here it says Tinubu directs Metawale to move to Kebbi. Eruku bandits won 100 million naira ransom each. The bandits have named their price. They said 100 million for one person. You know how many girls they made away with? 20-something. So guys, and now the same minister who is said to be hitting and whining with bandits is the one going to mediate. The whole system has been corrupted. Now, this other headline here says, why federal government hasn't prosecuted terrorism financiers. Nnamdi Kanu has been sentenced to life imprisonment. The list that was given to the APC government since the days of Buhari in government has still not been prosecuted. I mean, those financing terrorism. Let me share with you the reason that the minister is giving as to why they have not started prosecuting. He says that the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the federal government has not prosecuted individuals suspected of financing terrorism because the process requires extensive and delicate investigations that cannot be rushed. That they don't want to rush it. Hey, Nigerians, these people are not ready to end terrorism in Nigeria. They said they don't want to rush the list. UAE discovered all this and gave you that list. You said no, that you see, for how many years now? Buhari served 8 years. Tinubu, he has served 2 years, going to 3rd year, almost 11 years going. APC government said they've not made enough investigation to start prosecuting those financing terrorism. So guys, don't you think that there is complicity in all this? These people know what they are doing. Now, I'm also going to share this headline with you that says, killings, Buhari offered 100 billion naira compensation to Fulani herdsmen. So guys, Buhari really brought in terrorists into Nigeria. And Tinubu is the one that brought Buhari to power. Buhari now handed over to Tinubu. People are now saying that Tinubu entered a deal to allow all this to continue. And today, under the Tinubu's government, they are using a non-kinetic method. So guys, I'm just going to allow you to take a look at some of these clips. And you're also going to watch the video where a security expert has come out to say Tinubu made a covenant. He entered a deal before he became president. So if you want to become president, you must enter a deal to allow Islamization Jihad in Nigeria. For you to become a president, you must allow the Islamic terrorists to have their way, and that is why Tinubu's hand is tied. Did you even hear that Tinubu withdrew terrorism charges against Miyetti Allah leader? Did you hear that? But Nnamdi Kanu is sentenced for life. He is an Igbo man. So guys, you can see how the North is using Yoruba tribe to persecute the Igbos. But that's not even the matter. I just wanted to take your time and watch these videos for yourself, just for you to understand what's happening. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.